Remember this image? Remember this one? Pretty hard to forget. It's former Trump Justice Department official Jeffrey Bossert Clark in his underwear last year when the FBI executed a search warrant on his home. They seized a cell phone as part of their sprawling inquiry into Donald Trump's attempts to steal the election. Mr. Clark, who we're pretty sure is co-conspirator number 4 in Trump's indictment, played a pivotal role in that scheme. And here, in the body cam footage obtained as federal agents searched his home, he looks, well, rather comical and just a bit pathetic.
Can you step outside with me? We've got a search warrant, and we need to speak to you. Can I get you to step outside for me?
Can I call my lawyer?
Sure. Come on outside and do it.
Yeah, let's step outside.
Just real quick, we got to clear the house.
Can I put pants on first? Sir,
we got to clear the house.
We're going to clear the house,
make sure
and as soon as we
it's safe.
clear the house, we'll get you to talk to your lawyer, and we'll get some pants on, okay?
That entire scene is somewhat indelible because if you look at Jeffrey Clark's bio, any time before 2020, it would be entirely unremarkable. Went to law school, clerked for an appeals court judge after law school, worked at a white-collar law firm. He headed the Justice Department's Environmental Division during the George W. Bush administration, served as an advisor for Mitt Romney's 2012 presidential campaign. He was a prominent member of the Federalist Society, the conservative legal group that stocks the judicial branch with conservative judges as well as Republican administrations. He was, before working for Donald J. Trump, before 2020, quintessential Republican Washington lawyer. But Jeffrey Clark is also this key figure who wanted to take over the Department of Justice in 2020. And he wanted to throw the weight of the DOJ behind Trump's coup by sending letters to swing states to tell them the election was not trustworthy and that the state should send their own electors electing Donald Trump. When Justice Department officials, his bosses, wouldn't bend to Trump's will, Trump tried to install Clark in a kind of mini coup at the DOJ as the acting attorney general in a bid to remain in power so that Clark could send those letters out and have the DOJ help with the coup. And Clark's starring role in the conspiracy to subvert American democracy is detailed in the indictment. Clark's not named, but he sure does match the description of co-conspirator 4. When Clark was confronted with the ramifications of trying to steal the election, things took a turn, according to the indictment. On page 30, federal prosecutors described the moment 3 days before the attempted coup, quote, on the afternoon of January 3rd, when Clark spoke with a deputy White House counsel. He tried to dissuade Clark from assuming the role of acting attorney general. The deputy White House counsel reiterated to Clark that there had not been outcome-determinative fraud in the election, that if Trump remained in office nonetheless, there would be riots in every major city in the United States. Clark responded, well, that's why there's an Insurrection Act. And that, I submit to you, is the most chilling line in the entire indictment. Jeffrey Clark, according to it, wanted to use the U.S. military to use force, their guns, bullets in the streets on the American people so as to install a dictatorship under Donald J. Trump, according to prosecutors. To be clear, the Insurrection Act is an 1807 law that allows the president to deploy the military to stop an uprising. That's the big culmination of the entire conspiracy. That's the fantasy that Jeffrey Clark had. It was what Clark and others wanted Trump to invoke. And when I read that line, the indictment, I thought of Hannah Arendt's infamous line about the banality of evil. As I looked at this middle-aged lawyer in his boxers and his glasses, fantasizing about what those big bad troops would do with their guns, how they would shove a dictatorship down the throats of the American people. You would think the revelations of his role in the conspiracy would have destroyed his career, but in fact, it's been the opposite. He has become a celebrated MAGA figure because the explicit goal of the MAGA movement in action and word is for the Jeffrey Clark vision to come true, to end American democracy. And it's more than a little troubling how many lifelong Republican lawyers were in on this plot.